Welcome back to Ozarks Fox AM in this new year. We get to see Julianne from Intrigue Journal. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
So good to see you.
You too. Well, good morning. Isn't it? This is such a great time of the year. Renewal, anticipation, reflection on the past. And really, that's kind of segue. You know, whether we look forward or backwards in time, there are certain things that always remain that we can always count on. And one of those is mystery and intrigue.
Well, of course. And that's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. And it doesn't stop. It applies to science as well. We tend to think of science as factual, as black and white, but it's really a very creative process. You have to imagine what could be, hypothesize, and then test based on our observations, right?
Okay.
Which brings us to our first item today. That is the sun, and the fact that the sun might have been born a twin.
Really?
A second star, right? Could you imagine? Yes.
Oh.
Well, so where did it go?
Yeah, where did it go?
It could either be past the solar system into the Milky Way, or it could just be in the outer reaches of our solar system in what's known as a brown dwarf. It's cooled to a temperature where we can't see it. Now, some people will call it the evil twin, the nemesis, because they say that it might be responsible for launching the asteroid that knocked out the dinosaurs. It's out there floating around, you know, perturbing things.
Mind blown already, Julianne.
Right? Right? Happy New Year!
I know, Happy New Year!
Well, I like to think of it in more positive terms, because wouldn't it just be amazing if it was just a long-lost companion we reunited with, and we could actually witness a double binary sunset? That would just be beautiful, wouldn't you think?
That sounds like a science fiction movie.
Yeah,
Look at
like
that.
Star Wars, yeah.
Oh
Beautiful.
my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah,
All
that
right.
would be cool.
Number 2, Soviet cover-ups and lost cosmonauts. Now, the first man in space was Yuri Gagarin. This was April 1961. He did one orbit around the Earth. But the theory is that there were others before him, cosmonauts that went to space but did not return. Oh. Right?
That sounds very Russian of them.
Yes, it does.
Not talking about it.
It does. Well, there are two Italian brothers who are amateur radio operators who have recordings that actually support this theory. Yet they would hear SOSs getting farther and farther away, recordings. This one in particular we're going to listen to, it's sort of chilling. If it's true, it might be the first woman that was in space. Let's take a listen.
Oh, wow.
I hope it's not true, right?
I hope it's not true, just because I don't want to hear that of somebody so panicking.
Exactly.
You know.
Well, the authenticity of the recordings is questionable, but it is curious that 3 days after this recording, the Soviets announced the return of an unmanned spacecraft that burned on re-entry. So I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Third on the list. We'll just
keep moving. Keep moving.
Planet X, the 9th planet. So we got rid of Pluto, but we're still looking for a Planet X.
But I feel bad for Pluto still, okay? I do.
I agree. But, you know, I guess they got to make rules. Rules don't always need to be followed, but the man actually who demoted Pluto is actually the same man who is primarily responsible for looking for this new Planet X. Now, gravitational physics predicts that it exists. It's not just random. And it happens a lot that way, that we predict something before we actually find it. That's how we found Neptune.
But how can you predict there's a planet? I just don't get that.
It's math and all kinds of stuff we don't even want to get into. Right? Yeah. Well, maybe later we'll do some of that.
Okay.
So basically there's about 6 objects in the outer Kuiper belt that are behaving strangely, clustering, and they think what's causing it, in the absence of any other explanation, is this Planet X. The gravitational pull is making it do funny things. It's way out there in the outer solar system. Might take some time to find, but they're looking for it. They know kind of the pattern where it is, and they're going to let us know.
Interesting.
Number 4.
Or should I say intriguing?
Yeah. Either way. This year's going to be great.
I know it is.
Number 4 on the list, murder. Or conspiracy of it. So early on, the early thinkers and astronomers, they didn't have telescopes. They were using their own naked eye, people like Copernicus and somebody by the name of Tycho Brahe. Here he is.
Very dashing.
You haven't heard too much of him, but he really is responsible for a lot of measurements, and he had these well-kept notes, very accurate at the time. Well, he he builds this observatory. He hires actually an assistant by the name of Kepler, also very well known at this point. And then he dies. Well, this is Kepler,
okay,
but we're still talking about Brahe. So thank you. So Brahe dies mysteriously at the age of 54. Some say it's kidney failure, some say it's a bladder infection, some say murder, poison, that he was poisoned with mercury, because apparently there was some mercury in his body. Well, who was the first suspect in this true crime? His assistant, Kepler.
Of course!
Because Kepler was in pursuit of all of his notes, and Brahe was really very secretive. He kept it under lock and key, wouldn't let it leave the building, and he assigned Kepler to just Mars. He didn't want him to look at everything. So they think that he wanted full access to all of the notes. Well, spoiler alert, they exhumed Brahe's body twice. The first time it seemed like there was mercury in his body, but the more recent time in 2010, not so much. So we'll let Kepler rest in peace. He was a man of God and was driven by that. And then just a little bit of math and physics here, if we can go there.
Yeah.
I tried to find the most simple figure I could. But if you take, let me grab some notes here. If you square the period, the orbital period, so any planet, you take any planet, and this amount here is the period. If you square that, and then you divide it by the major axis, which is the halfway point from the planet to the sun, if you square one, cube the other, and then divide the other one, any planet, any figure, you come up with the same number. That number is 1.
I don't understand any of that, but I love it.
Because they're all separate. I mean, isn't it just, that's some divineness in nature, right?
I think there was a divine plan right there.
I think so too. And that brings us to our last one, the debate. How do we get here? Our origin.
Right. What is the meaning of life?
Right. Is it naturalism? Is it theism? And I like to side with, or at least bring up comic Kathleen Madigan. In one of her acts, she says, her quote, I might get this wrong, I'm going to try here, is, if we came from monkeys, then why are there still monkeys?
I've always said that. Oh my gosh, I love that monkey so much.
There's our little Frankie.
I love little Frankie. Oh, that is a good question. I know as a child, when you hear about evolution, you think, well, if we came from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Why haven't they evolved into humans yet? I mean, it does make you wonder. I mean,
why some of them are still here?
Yes.
Like why do some people still have wisdom teeth? Why didn't we just evolve out of it if we don't need them?
I can tell you, I don't have any of my wisdom teeth, and that's probably why I'm not wise. This is so intriguing and fascinating. I always love when you're here, and I cannot wait to see what 2020 brings us with Intrigue Journal.
Ah, me either.
All right, thanks, Julianne. Don't go anywhere. Ozarks Fox AM will be right back. I could really watch monkey videos all day long.
So could I. But I just got the real thing there, so.